In Mark chapter 4, Jesus tells a parable of 4 different seeds and 4 different types of soil. These 4 different types of seeds represent our hearts, and these 4 different types of soils represent how we respond to God's love. Now, in this chapter, it's very prophetic, because if you look around, if you're watching this video and you stop, you pause, and you look around, you can see how very different and how people have reacted to God's love, to God's way of life, showing them love. So let me turn to, I apologize, it might take me a minute, but let me turn, and this is a KJV Bible. It's not a normal standard Bible like you see in your churches and other places, but it still works. We begin in Mark chapter 4, verse 1. And he began again to teach by the seaside, and there was gathered unto him a great multitude, so that he entered into a ship and sat in the sea, and the whole multitude by the sea on the land. If you don't know what a multitude is, it's basically a large group of people, not necessarily a crowd, but bigger enough to where you see pretty much in a church or someone preaching the gospel. There's a large group of people. That's what a multitude is. And Jesus is standing on the ship, and the people listening to him speak are on the land. So he is in a boat and they are on the land. In Mark 4 verse 3, it talks about, hearken, behold, there went out a sorrow to sow, which basically means there's a bad seed. Yeah, and this is Jesus speaking. Most of this is going to be Jesus speaking. I will tell you when it's not. Okay, and in the next verse after that, and it came to pass, as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the foes of the air came and devoured it up. So let me give you some context. In Mark 4, verse 4, 3 and 4, there's a gardener planting different types of seed. That gardener is God, okay? The seeds are you and I. It's our hearts. And the soil, like I said, both the seeds and the hearts at the seeds and the soil at the beginning of the video is our hearts, and the soil is how we respond to God. Okay. So in Mark 4:4, the gardener was planting seeds, but he dropped some. And the first soil was hard, it was thick. It was pretty much like rock. The seed couldn't get through, and so birds came and swept it up, which are pretty much worldly things around us, or even demonic things that are around us. The birds of the air, when he says foes, that means birds of the air, came down, swept down, picked up the seed, and flew away with it. That is how hardened somebody's heart is. How hardened somebody's heart may be. Okay. In verse 5, and some fell on stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately it sprang up, because it had no depth on the earth. In verse 5, he's talking about hard soil, but it had very, very little. It had very, very little softness. Okay, that's the only word I can pretty much put it into, but the softness, it had very little. So, when it saw that very little, it sprung up and it sprouted very quickly. And when it did this, it dried out very quickly as well. So some people in the world, in life, maybe you, if you're watching this video, Some people are like that. They're very quick to understand God's word. They're very quick to know what it means. And they're very quick to just go about their day. They're very quick to brush it off. And I will say, I do this too. I do this too sometimes. I listen to God's word, I understand it, but then I just brush it off, which is something I have to work on. And I pray that you work on it too. In verse 6, it talks about the sun drying up the seed that sprung up. But in verse 7, and some fell among the thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no fruit. The third type of soil is basically soft soil. It's very good soil, but it has thorns around it. So when the seed fell and grew in that soil, the thorns around it choked it out and it died. What does this mean? Well, this means that when the seed fell, when you understood God's word, the seed, fell into the soil, understood it, heard it, listened to it, all that, and preached it. But the people who are the thorns, the people who don't like you, the people who are your enemies or who hate what you are spreading, deny you. They say, I don't care. They decline you. So it just gives you a sense of, what am I doing? Why am I doing this if nobody is going to listen? If you are that type of person, please do not fall for those types of people. It is very, very easy to listen to those types of people. Number 3 is very easy to fall into. Okay? But in verse 8, and the other fell on the ground, on good ground, and it did yield fruit that sprang up and increased, and brought forth some 30, and some 60, and some 100. And he said unto them, this is verse 9, and he said unto them, he that hath ears to hear, let him hear. Now, when Jesus is talking about in Mark 4, verse 8, when he says this is perfect soil. This is amazing soil. That soil is very rich. It's very nutrient. It's very good. And the heart, the seed that falls into it, it has room to grow. And it grows, it flourishes, and it spreads to other soil. And that seed, that soil, that good seed can counteract the other 3. It can. It's very hard, but it can happen. Now, when I say this, what do I mean? Well, I mean that if you are this person, if you are number 4, it's perfectly good. That's amazing. I encourage you, if you feeling willing to, spread the word to other people. Spread the word to your friends, to your family, to whoever. Okay? But this basically is just saying the soil was very good, the heart response was very good, the seed that fell was very good, it sprung up and it had room to grow. Your heart was very soft, it was very complacent and compelling and understanding of God's word, and it had room to grow, and it grew. And when Jesus says, and increased and brought forth some 30, some 60, and some 100, this means it's spreading to other seeds, other soil. You and I and many other people who follow Christ, we are the seeds. And sometimes we can become the gardeners. That is not saying. Now, pause the video. You may be thinking, well, Liam, didn't you say God was the gardener? Yes, God is the ultimate gardener. He is the great gardener. But, and I say this very lightheartedly, that God also has other gardeners in his garden. Now, God can do everything, right? I'm not saying God can't do it alone. He can. but he appoints other gardeners in the garden, which are disciples, messengers of the word. He is saying, go garden, go plant these seeds. And you and I and people who spread the word, it doesn't matter if you go on YouTube, doesn't matter if you go on TikTok, YouTube, whatever, Instagram, doesn't matter. If you just talk to your friends or talk to your family or talk to random people about it, that's still planting seeds. You become the gardener or the apprentice to the gardener, and you are now allowed to go plant seeds in other people, which then allows them, if they respond correctly and they respond with the fourth type of soil, with the fourth type of seed, for them to go plant seeds, and so on and so forth. That is how the message of God is spread. People with good seeds, with good soil. It all boils down to the soil. With good soil comes good seeds. And with good seeds comes more good seeds. And so on and so forth. So you and I must have good soil. We must have compelling, compassionate, patient hearts with God. And then we must go plant more seeds. That is what Mark 4, verse 1 through 8 is talking about. I very much liked making this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment saying I did enjoy this video. If you want to see more videos like this, please leave a comment down below. And yeah, subscribe.